Hey YouTube, welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be talking about a tea room in Newberry, South Carolina. So we went there, my mom and I went there one time last year before the wedding and all of that, and we had their regular tea service where you get to choose your teas and they bring you your different courses and whatnot. And it was fantastic too. No, I don't think I have any pictures from it, or if I do, they are filed away somewhere and I would have to find them. But for this review, they had something special going on that Mom and I went to. It was on December, what was that day? The 5th. The 5th. They did a Christmas tea, and my mom and I went to that, and we had a great time. It was so much fun. I will try to insert some pictures along the way. I don't remember if I got one of the table setting, but if I do, I'll put it in now. If not, it'll be okay. But they chose the teas for us. There was one that we had during some of our more main courses, and then we had one with the final 3-tier tray that was mostly dessert. So we had a more of a meal tea and a dessert tea, I guess. So I cannot remember the name of the first tea we had, but it was very floral. My mom even bought a bag of it afterward because she loved it so much. But it was very aromatic, very floral, and just mellow, but you could still taste it even though you were eating food at the same time. It didn't lose its flavor completely or anything like that. And it was good without adding much to it. I put maybe a touch of sugar, but that was it. If I can find the name out of that tea from my mom, I will put that as some text down below, or I'll put it in the description box. But it was a great tea. And we had that for our first several courses. Now, my mom and I are tea drinkers, so when I say we had that, I don't mean we sipped it. We drank several cups of that tea each. It was fantastic. But let me talk to you about the food, and we will go from there. So, the first course that we had was a tomato soup, and it was very good. And I will put a picture of that in now. And it was a tomato soup. It wasn't very chunky. You could tell it had that homemade feel to it because it wasn't like a perfectly smooth puree, but it was very much a soup and not a stew. So it was very smooth. It was very herbaceous, if you will, and I think it had a touch of cinnamon to it. So it was almost like marinara, but you were still eating a soup too. And it was warm and delicious, and it was on a very cool day. I'll go so far as to say it was pretty cold that day. So going in and having that soup was nice. So there was that. It was delicious, and that went pretty quickly. When we went on to the second course, that was I think they called it a cranberry salad. I don't know if that's what they actually called it, but basically yes. And here is a picture of that. It was really good. I wouldn't call it a salad so much as I would call it a relish, but I was very pleased that there was not a lot of lettuce or actual salad happening. It was just a little bit of almost like a palate cleanser, really. And I think that was perfectly timed since the soup had the strong flavors. So good. Did not last long. We ate it up. It was delicious. I think my mom liked it so much she's going to try to make it for us for Christmas because it was just that good. So, yes, would recommend. Would eat again in a heartbeat if I had it right now. Let's see, what was the third course? The third course was a fruit salad. It was not bad, but at the same time, it was a fruit salad. It was good. I wasn't overly impressed, but at the same time, I'm not usually a fruit salad person, so that's not the salad's fault. That's a me thing. I did like that it wasn't just a normal whatever you get in the can and pour out, or those little Jello cup things happening. No. It was very much, they made it homemade, so I appreciated that with the fresh fruit, and it wasn't like overly runny or gross or juicy. They'd sprinkled coconut on top, and they had like an almond flavoring in with it. So when you bit into it, it wasn't the weird melted fruit flavor that you expected. It was whatever fruit you were eating plus almond, which kind of worked to tie it together better. but it was just so unexpected. So that was very good. And I don't remember if I put a picture in of that, but if I haven't put a picture in, make sure I'll put a picture in. But that was that. Now, the last course we had a different tea for, and that was a bourbon vanilla tea. I do remember what it was because of the two, it was the one I like better because it lended itself to milk a bit better. It was stronger, so it could support the milk added to it. And I like to put a little bit of milk in my tea, or sugar, or both. I like to try it all the ways and see which one I prefer with each individual tea. But this one was good with a little bit of milk and a touch of sugar in it. So I liked it, and it did lend itself very well to the dessert. So I've got a picture of the tray on my phone. I'm going to insert it now so you can look at it, but I'm going to have to look at the picture of this tiered tray to remember everything that was on it because, oh my gosh, I have nothing to complain about from that tier. So, okay. Bottom layer. Oh, there is one thing I didn't eat, but it had salmon. There was a salmon spread on a piece of bread and with a cucumber, and it was very, very pretty. And I tried it because I was going to try it, but I don't eat salmon normally, so I didn't really eat that one. They had a kind of ham salad on almost like a mini biscuit that you can see. It looks like there's poppy seeds in it. And there was also a like a crescent roll with a cranberry chicken salad. That was really good. I think it did have onions in it though, and that was a bit strong for me, but it was good. On the middle layer going up, they had actual gingerbread. Not a cookie, but the actual gingerbread that they had baked and sliced. And it was fantastic. I'd never had real gingerbread before, and it was really, really good. They also had a sausage and cheese ball like you would normally get at a party, and some cranberry orange scones, and they had those with Devon cream and lemon curd, and that was very good. And I'll talk a bit more about a couple things in a minute. On the top layer, you can't see it all very well, but on the back, which you can't see, they have ladyfinger cookies. They had rum cake with a cherry on top. They had mini, like tiny little mini mincemeat pies. And they had squares of homemade fudge. So that was fantastic. I'm not going to dwell on every single thing. I'll try and do what stands out. Everything on it was homemade, except I think the bread, for the little sandwiches wasn't homemade. The biscuits were, and the sausage balls were, but the bread that the salmon spread was actually on, and the crescent rolls were bought. But everything else was homemade. The scones and gingerbread were both good. We put some of the Devon cream and lemon curd on them. And that was our first time having a mince pie. Neither my mom nor I have ever had that before, but it was really good, but it was way sweeter than we expected. So we actually put a little bit of the cream on that to kind of cut some of that sweetness, and that worked so well. But oh my gosh, all of this so delicious. The fudge was fantastic. We both saved that as our last piece of the evening, or well, of the afternoon, but it was so good. So many good things. So many good things. I can't wait to go back. I think it is going to be a yearly recurring activity for my mom and I. And or actually, let me say that correctly, for my mom and me. But anyway, it was so good. I highly recommend. I'm going to send this video to them. And definitely, if you're ever in Newberry, check them out. I don't think that they do. Well, actually, they might. If I can find their website, I'll link it below, or their Facebook. I don't know if they do walk-ins or if you have to do a reservation, because this was a special event. We had a reservation, and my mom and I normally make reservations when we go to tea rooms just in case anyway. But you could always see, and I recommend it. Definitely go. But it is time for me to end this video. So remember to like, comment, share, subscribe, ring the bell, do all the things. If you know another tea room in South Carolina my mom and I should try, leave it below, because we love to do that and we would definitely go check it out. And I think that's everything. So long from the little greenhouse.